The struggles of the old homeless man. The sun was coming up on a hot July day when the homeless older man, Pete, was waking up with the urge to urinate. Living on the street, he had no restroom to relieve himself. So, as usual, he went behind a dumpster and relieved himself. Pete packed the dirty blanket he was sleeping on and started walking in search of something to eat. He would stop at a gas station restroom to wash his face, rinse his mouth, and continue searching for food. Another horrible day is beginning in Pete's life. Finding a job would be impossible, being homeless, wearing dirty clothes, smelling like urine, and having no home address. No one would ever hire him, and then there are trust issues. It was endless walking during the day with people looking down on him. No one showed any compassion, forcing him to beg for food, water, or money. There were days that Pete didn't eat or drink water. He always felt weak and lightheaded from a lack of food. Pete would sometimes sit under a tree and think about his childhood with his parents, his home with 3 meals daily, a warm bed, and clean clothes. How he wished he could go back in time. Life was trying to survive another day, not knowing if it would be his last. Pete did not want to be homeless. He hated it. Pete wanted an everyday life like he once had. Pete didn't use drugs or drink alcohol but was typecast as a druggie and a drunk. For months this was his routine, and in the winter, it was worse just trying to stay warm and find warm shelter. Pete needed a miracle to turn his life around. One day as Pete was walking down the main street, a man approached him quickly. Pete thought he was going to get robbed or beat up. But the man said, "Are you hungry?" "What's your name?" Pete answered, "Yes, I am. My name is Pete." The man said, "My name is Raul Angelico. I want to help you." "Really?" Pete said, so surprised. Raul told Pete, "I would walk with you to a homeless shelter." Feeling scared but with nothing to lose, they walked to a homeless shelter about 1.5 miles away. The walk was Raul's way of getting to know Pete. He asked Pete where he was from. How long was he on the streets? What happened to make him homeless? Did he have a family? Does he have any skills? They arrived at the shelter. Pete was given a razor, soap, shampoo, a toothbrush, and a fresh change of clothes. After the warm shower, Pete changed and threw away his old clothes. He was then taken to another room where a volunteer barber cut men's hair. Pete was starting to look like a nice older man. He was given a cot with a soft mattress and a blanket. The shelter then gave him a hot lunch of chicken, mashed potatoes, and a salad. To Pete, this was a luxury. The shelter also had a TV room that all the homeless men shared. They let Pete rest for 3 days to get his strength back. After his short recovery, Pete was sent to the building across the street and told to go to room 220 for job interviews on the 2nd floor. There was a company that owned many warehouses and needed staffing. Pete was asked to fill out the application and ask if he would like a position such as a forklift operator, a stalker, or a janitor. Pete chose a forklift driver. Pete finished and returned to the shelter, wondering if he even had a chance to get a job. 2 weeks passed, and the shelter manager called Pete to his office. "Sit down, Pete," said the manager. "The warehouse called and said you were accepted for the forklift position you applied for. If you accept, you will be given a bus pass to get there and make $15 an hour to start. You will start Monday at 7 a.m. Pete was so excited that he couldn't believe the miracle he was experiencing. Pete's life had changed. After a few years of working hard, Pete got an apartment and a used car and lived an independent life again. Pete worked for the warehouse company for 15 years and then retired. Written by Alvin Rivera.